Gather round, friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. We are your hosts, David
and Philip.
And I'm really full. I just had a massive dinner.
Did you have a massive dinner in front of the telly, watching some Eurovision and having Italy win it all?
Nope. Just because I spent most of my life in Europe and I'm living there now does not mean that
come on.
In
Don't you put
Eurovision.
That on me. Don't you put that on me. You was the one who introduced me to Eurovision. That was you. Don't make it sound like I'm just some generalizing freak who's like, well, he's from Europe, so he loves it. No. You introduced me, you bastard.
That's true, but that's just because there's some real classics out there on YouTube that came out of Eurovision. But no, I don't really watch the show unless someone else sort of coaxes me into it. But no. But congratulations to Italy, unless drugs were involved. Apparently, that was a scandal. So someone's getting tested for drugs now.
How can one?
I don't know.
How can one drug themselves to?
I don't know why it's even relevant.
Yeah.
Right, because it's not performance enhancing. So
unless it's like extra choreography, extra hip thrusting with a saxophone.
I guess. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do.
Man, look at those extra muscular pelvic thrusts. Oh, let's give them a 10 out of 10.
If you don't know what we're talking about, then we apologize. But if you know, you know. No, but I guess maybe it was like illegal drugs, and that's what the problem is.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. What, you think there's no drugs in show business?
Come
Please.
on.
I bet you that all the performances would have sucked if they weren't on drugs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I may be taking this too far.
No,
don't do drugs, kids.
No, don't
Stay
go
in school.
Don't adhere to the pansies.
Don't do drugs.
Yeah. Anyways,
but
you're full. What did you eat?
Beef short rib with knödel, which are like German potato dumplings. Not canoodles, although that is kind of what we sometimes call them as a joke. But they're knödel. They're K-N-O with an umlaut.
I don't do that with my family. Actually, you know what? Now I know your mom, so I kind of feel bad making family jokes, so I'll stop.
Yeah, that's just gross.
So this weekend, we are recording, and I believe it's the first part. Correct me if I'm wrong, David, but it's the first part of a two-parter Friends reunion episode.
I have no idea. I don't know. All I know is that it's coming out on the 27th, which is a Thursday, on HBO Max. And I don't know that it's two parts. I don't think so. I mean, but I really don't know that much about it. I was just going to find it somewhere, wherever it happens to stream here in the Netherlands, probably a day or two later.
Right.
If not, I don't know.
So what we're talking about is that there is a Friends reunion episode. Friends, of course, being the TV show of many, many years, very much, very prominent in Europe as well.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
very popular. Like, it's hard for that. Like in the streaming era, that is certainly one of the shows that has just stayed popular.
Absolutely.
Even though it is,
my younger sister,
old.
My younger sister loves Friends. That's how prominent it still remains to be. Again, my younger sister, my older sister loved it back when it was around, but she was of that age where she could enjoy it and watch it day to day. My younger sister has no experience with it prior to then just straight through streaming it, and she loves it. So there certainly is some power and prowess behind the series, but there's a Friends reunion episode, and it's been about 16 years since the finale, the final episode.
Over 17 years, actually.
Really?
I looked it up earlier today. It was over 17 because it was May 7th or something, 2004, which is over 17 years ago now.
Okay, maybe, I don't know. So 17 years. The cast is now all aged from like 50 to 57. That's crazy to me. They're all in that range.
I saw the trailer. I watched the trailer in prep for recording this, and you see some of them, and like, look, they look obviously they look good for whatever, but the
women look spectacular still. Way to go, them.
You know who especially looks spectacular?
Jennifer Aniston?
Is Lisa. Well, no, actually, I was going to say Lisa Kudrow. Lisa Kudrow looks awesome. She looks great.
You know what?
I don't know, like, what it.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, she took a more
natural.
Sure, you said it. I didn't. She took a more natural approach to the whole aging process, and I think it worked for her. I think it worked for her.
It definitely did. She looks fantastic. I think she looks absolutely fantastic, and David Schwimmer looks normal.
Yeah.
And so does the guys sort of look normal. Like, it's just like, it's not that they look old. It's just that we've all seen them like for the past like 20 years and they haven't aged at all because we're just watching old Friends episodes.
Right.
So they've stayed between the age of like 25 and 35. And now all of a sudden we're seeing them and they're like in their 50s. What? And so I hope I'm not offending.
No.
Jen, if you're listening, you look fabulous. You look absolutely fabulous.
Sure.
It's just that.
Yeah, they are all still movie stars of varying degree. I think right now, you could probably say the most successful career right now is between Jennifer Aniston and Courtney Cox. But even Lisa Kudrow,
I would say hands down Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Way, way more successful than any of the others.
But Lisa Kudrow, I think she's consistently doing consistent work and still is funny. Still is funny to this day.
I think she's probably... in my opinion, in my personal taste for comedy, she's probably the one creating the funniest content still consistently for the past 15 years.
Well, Jennifer gave it up years ago, but anyways.
But she's more the rom-com type these days, you know?
Yeah.
Or like in the past 15 years.
Right. So the show took place over a decade with over 236 half-hour episodes. It's a lot of content.
Oof.
A lot of content. Now, here's where I kind of want to break down this line. Why are we even talking about it? Because one, do we like the difference, David, between a reunion episode with the people, not the characters? Meaning, I believe that they're going to be doing like a Hocus Pocus 2. We see all these sequels, these rebrandings of bringing people back, putting them back in the role that made them famous, yada, yada, yada. How even Will and Grace did a reunion series, a reunion season. But do we enjoy the difference between a reunion episode with just the people and talking about them and their experiences, maybe where they come from, where they are now, versus the characters? Would we have liked to have seen a continuation of that story?
I think I have a few things to say about this. I don't think it works if it's like where are they now? You know, because like we know where they are now, and we'd rather see them reminisce about the show itself and tell stories about the show itself and backstage and whatever. That's fun. I think that's more interesting, and that's what it's gonna be. I think. Let's look at some of the shows that have come back and have ended as a show and come back for like a movie, say, or whatever.
Sex
ones
and the
that
City.
Come to mind for me, Firefly. Did you ever watch Firefly?
I never did. Hear fantastic things about it.
It's a great show. Because it got canceled tragically. It didn't resolve, and so they had to come back and do a movie called Serenity, and they did really well with it. I love that movie. I love Serenity. I think they rounded out the story as well as they could. The movie stands on its own as well, so it's great if you just watch it on its own. You don't lose too much, but it also rounds out the story of Firefly really well. And it's the characters, right? And then if you look at, like, if you've watched the British show, The In-Betweeners, it was a funny show, and then they came back and they did 2 movies. And I believe I've seen the second one. I haven't watched the first one yet. I recently watched the show, and again, I think that worked because they needed to round out the story. They ended the show and they were like, okay, let's give the viewers, but these things happened within a couple years of the show's ending. I think when you wait several years, Lisa Kudrow came out for a long time, said to the public, like, I will not do a reunion unless I'm absolutely sure that it does the story justice, because you close out the story and then by doing a reunion with the characters rather than like the actual actors, you run the risk of spoiling the resolution of the show itself.
Sure.
And so I think that's why it's happening in this way rather than like doing a follow-up movie of where are the characters now, you know?
So that's a good reasoning for it. And I understand the context. That's great points that you bring up as far as, yes, there is, of course, that avid difference between the two. In this case, though, however, with this show, I think that there was a distinction. It wasn't quite Sopranos-esque where everybody was disappointed with the ending. Pretty much widespread criticism, maybe even Game of Thrones, widespread criticism of how the series resolved. This one was about 50-50 from what I gathered. So, with that in mind, would you have preferred a reunion with all the characters or with what we're getting when what we got?
I'm happy with what we're getting. I wouldn't want to see them. I think that show wrapped up very well. And so did like The Office is absolutely my favorite TV show, my favorite comedy, certainly. And I think it wrapped up beautifully.
I'd say for The Office, the final like 2 episodes wrapped up really well. The last season, even probably like the last season and a half, not as well.
Yeah, well, they tried to they did another season so that they could wrap it up, and they got by as well as they could. There's a lot of gold in there, but it obviously does fall short of the standard set by Steve Carell when he headed up that team, you know.
Absolutely.
But like again, like for that show, or we'll get to that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
I think they're doing the right thing with Friends for sure.
I think it's harder for me to answer that question just because I haven't really seen that much of Friends. I remember coming back home from school. I watched an episode here or there, but it was always in lieu of waiting for the next one. I was much more interested in, I don't know, something like King of the Hill would come on, and then, or I think even something like Simpsons might, depending on the thing, or even cartoons, depending on the time. So it was always in lieu of something else, and it was just the second half of the episode. So I think in total, I've seen like 2 episodes of Friends, so I wasn't as emotionally invested.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and from everything I've heard, from everything I've seen, How I Met Your Mother is an updated version of Friends. Like it's what would happen if Friends had the invention of the cell phone, which is so instrumental towards like the bridge between society now versus when society occurred during Friends time.
I think the 2 shows have a very different tone, a very different mood. The comedy also feels very different. But it is written in that same spirit. I don't know. I'm being really airy-fairy right now, but the 2 are very different in my eyes. But they are like How I Met Your Mother. I think is for the younger generation of Friends fans. I guess I love both shows.
Fair enough. Does this show deserve a reunion? Do you think?
Again, I have to say, like in this format, yes, it absolutely does, because it's still got such a following. It's got a cult following. Like, and I'm sure we'll see. Like, this is NBC, right? I'm sure we'll see The Office get a similar thing down the line eventually, right? A lot of those big shows, right? I don't know. I think it does, but I'm glad they're doing it in this format again.
Here's my only reasoning why I don't, and partly why I will make a case for a show that probably either deserves it more or what have you, is that does this show deserve a reunion? I don't believe so, only because I think pretty much everything we need to know about outside of their personal lives, outside of what, like the one thing that I was somewhat interested in was really kind of outside of Friends, which is forget Matthew Perry, I believe his name is, his drug and alcohol addiction that apparently was well known behind the scenes and apparently known during recording, and how he had to cope through it all, and his journey through that either in recent life and how the repercussions that he's had to have recently, but it started and really manifested there. That I find interesting, and that he hasn't really ever opened up about. So that I'm intrigued about. But outside of that, as far as like what it pertains to the actual show, the creation of the show, the writers of the show, behind the scenes info, I kind of feel like all that's already out there. Maybe it's all the fact that it's succinct and in one package. But
what it is all these, like the millions of fans have been desperately wanting a reunion. And what we're going to get is 6 big stars who we've come to know and love reminiscing.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be anything groundbreaking. It's just going to be for nostalgia's sake. NBC heard all these millions of people begging for a reunion, and they thought, well, you know, like how much do we have to pay these 6 A-listers, and how much is it going to cost to put the set back together? And then from that point on, like, okay, we're probably going to make enough money that this is going to be worthwhile. So let's do it.
I mean,
you know?
of course, if we're talking about money,
Right.
yes, of course it makes sense.
But that's what it is, right? This is the network going, it kind of just makes sense to do this.
All right, so here, let's go.
It's cheaper than like writing a screenplay and making a feature film. So.
Sure. So here, let's go here, because I think that this will be a good way to kind of bring it all home. What are shows that deserve a reunion in your case, besides or in addition to Friends, and then for me, besides Friends or show?
I think it maybe needs more time. Look, I mean, I've said it a million times on this show, The Office is 100% my favorite show. I would love to see them, if they got Steve Carell and the original core cast, at the very least, the original core cast back together, they could write more seasons for that show. If they found a way to get those characters back together.
Wow.
And I don't think the quality would suffer at all. I think when you have that group of actors, like yes, it would negate the resolution of the former, and you'd have to resolve it again. You'd have to find plot points. You'd have to find things that are going on in these characters' lives. But I think you would be able to write great content for those actors, and Steve Carell, John Krasinski, Rainn Wilson. They wouldn't do it. They would not do it. From what I understand, right?
No.
They would have no interest in going back to that, because they've moved on, right?
They moved on.
But they would kill it again. I have absolute confidence. I'm happy with what there is, and like I love it. For them to do a similar sort of nostalgia-based reunion in the future, I think that would be nice. As far as other shows, I mean, it's hard to say, like a lot of the shows that I've been watching recently, like it's hard to say, yeah, I want a reunion, because they, like Modern Family, for example, just ended, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine is still going. So yeah, The Big Bang Theory, like I sort of lost interest after a while. How I Met Your Mother, I would be interested in seeing a reunion of sorts, maybe. But I don't know, like again, that show, I actually didn't like how it ended. I did not like how it ended, but I think this is only sort of relevant. This isn't relevant for any like dramas, right? Game of Thrones, there's no reason to have a reunion for that, despite it ending catastrophically badly.
Not interested.
Like, what are you going to do? The only thing you're going to do is rewrite the show and do another season 7 and 8 and like rewrite them better. But like a reunion? No, I'm not interested. Sorry.
Okay. Here's my number one with a bullet. And I don't even know if you're aware of this show. So, I mean, it may completely fall on deaf ears here. Did you ever watch, and are you aware of Malcolm in the Middle?
I'm aware of it. Yeah, I may have seen a couple episodes a long time ago, but
here's why I think that it should be a reunion show that should be like done immediately. I realize that the following may not be nearly as pronounced as Friends, because that's like an iconic TV show that will probably stand the test of time. It will be a bar setter right there. That will be like Boomerang, but something along that line. It's not to that degree, but there's a couple things that I think make this really interesting. One, Bryan Cranston became both a megastar and TV again later on in a different show. So there's something that you can do there. He is still an A-lister, I would argue. And he's done a lot of films, like a lot of nominated worthy performances. So there is that. And again, we're talking a reunion. Everybody's coming back to talk about it. I'm not saying about continuing the series. That's not what I want. I just want a reunion where all of them to talk. So there's Bryan Cranston. He's a star. I think he's a genuinely good guy. I'd be interested in seeing him just in general. He's like the Jennifer Aniston of the group. The biggest draw for me, though, is the others are kids and they grew up to be possibly even different people. I would actually like to see, one, are they still acting?
Yeah.
2, what did they do with their life? And 3, was there anything going on that they didn't understand as kids, now as adults? Like, that actually feels genuine. Like, when I'm looking at 30-year-olds going into 50-year-olds, okay, whatever. But kids going into now adulthood and living their lives and having lived a large, significant portion of their life under camera, I want to hear those stories. I want to see if there was something murky, if there was not murky something there. I just want to see how it inspired them to fulfill the rest of their lives. And finally, and might be the biggest point, Frankie Muniz, person who played Malcolm in the Middle. Since then, it's very storied that he has suffered memory loss from since that time, and he does not recall or remember much, if any, time of his time on Malcolm in the Middle.
Really?
I think it would be very, like, that offers a lot of drama, being like, Frankie, did you remember this? Obviously he doesn't, but maybe there can be heartbreaking moments of like, wow, I either was a really bad person, a good person. There's a lot of self-discovery there that can happen. Maybe it can be therapeutic on air. I just find that to be so gripping of an aspect that is natural. That's there. That is automatically compelling.
You almost want to do a documentary about it.
I'm telling you, man.
That's so interesting.
It wasn't until we came up with this idea that I first thought of this, but I was like, this is like almost criminal that this has not been documented at some point in level. Maybe it has, and I'm just unaware of it. And that'd be kind of cool to find out that it hasn't. If you do know, DM us at POWWOW Podcast. But I completely find this to be the reunion that we would find the most compelling. Again, I realize the outreach is nowhere on the same ilk as Friends, as a lot of other things, but it certainly qualifies. It certainly has a lot of notoriety, and the cast and characters are there. I think a lot of them branched out, did some stuff continuing. We still have a lot of middle-aged people that were there that could certainly have done. I think some people have died in there, so that we can talk about them in memoriam and stuff. I think that that's the one that would be the best to suit it.
I just thought of, and we'll wrap up this now in a second, but I just came to my mind. And I'm not even that big of a deal, but I would kind of want to see Drake Bell and Josh Peck get back together and just sort of like do like a little talk about Drake and Josh. I know that there was some controversy when I think it was Josh Peck got married and didn't invite Drake Bell or something. Yeah. And there was some controversy there and he was like offended. But that was a show that I loved when I was growing up, and I would be curious to like just see them sort of like get back and like talk in front of a camera, reminisce about those days.
I missed cable because we weren't able to afford it when I was growing up, so I didn't really get into Drake Bell or the other one that I'm about to suggest. But iCarly, there's a rift between the two, and I would suggest that a little bit more powerfully if they weren't doing. I believe they just came out and announced an iCarly return series of some form or fashion. Not quite sure.
I don't even know what it is. Like, I never watched it. So.
Okay, fair enough. But there's a rift between the two, and even the other one, who's the forget. I think her name's McCurdy. She is apparently in like deep doo-doo with Disney. So like that would just be dramatic, anyways, to just kind of hear about that. So.
Oh my God, how long has it been since we've done Fun Factoid? This was one of the OG segments on this show. My fun factoid for this week, China's, and forgive me for mispronouncing, but China's Zhurong rover has successfully landed on Mars, making China only the second nation to do this successfully. Congratulations, China. Everyone else who's tried, other than the US, obviously, has either crash landed or they lost contact with their rover. It went rogue.
Rover, send it on over.
Dead rovers stranded on Mars.
There we go. Fun factoid for me. The largest chocolate chip cookie ever made weighed 40,000 pounds, which is only more impressive by the 80,000 gallons of milk used to consume it. Just kidding about the milk. We go to once more, and this week, since we are branching off of a Friends episode, I thought we could do a little something that we'll call "I'll Be There for You?" ? So, David, we're going to go back and forth on 5 agreed upon situations, scenarios that could pop up. Maybe they have popped up for us. Maybe they will pop up for us. And I want you to either describe or tell me a scenario of the person that you would or have done these scenarios for. It'll make sense as we go along. So first scenario, would you ever deliver soup or something along the lines if you're don't believing of soup? Would you ever deliver soup to a person who's sick or in need?
Yes. Yeah. If I had a friend who was feeling under the weather, I have done this. Like, for example, like back like in January of 2020, I went and did their groceries for them because pretty sure they had COVID in January 2020, right about a month before everything locked down.
I see.
Pretty sure they had COVID. So it was very, very like months later. I was like, hold on a second, that was probably Corona. So I did their groceries for them.
Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we agreed upon this. I don't know if you agreed upon this fully knowing, but we agreed upon this, and then I thought of it. I've done this for you. You had, I don't know.
You have.
Yes. But
I had an infected wisdom tooth, and my mouth was my entire side of my face was like a balloon.
Huge, man.
And it was huge. And I couldn't open my mouth past like a crack. Like I could like I remember the first morning that I woke up with it. Anyway, that first morning, I won't give too many details of the story, but like there were a few of us and we were having pancakes, like German, like crepes, German pancakes. And I had to like sort of like shove it into my mouth because I could not open my mouth wide enough to like eat like a normal human being. And so Phil brought me soup one night, and it was very touching. The only thing is, I will say, for the amusement of our listeners and not to detract from what you did for me, Phil, because it was a beautiful gesture of friendship, but the soup had quite a lot of chunks. So I had to blend it anyway, but even so.
Yes. All right, next one. Would you / to what degree would you hang out with a significant other's best friend if you don't like them or you find them annoying for whatever reason you don't like them? What is the degree that you would hang out with them?
I've 100% been in this situation before, and I tend to avoid it. Like I will try my best not to like
you'll just
show
say,
my dislike.
Honey, go have a fun night out. Just enjoy. I'll stay home.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'd rather just like if I can, I'll get away. Like that's difficult for me. As much as I would love that significant other, I'm sure there's just some things that you just don't have to deal with.
I don't know how to appropriately say this, but I've never had this problem. But I can imagine others have had that problem for me.
Wait, where you were the significant other or you were the annoying best friend?
No. You're right. Where I'm the significant other and I have a best friend who can be a bit much. That's how I'll honestly put it. Because obviously it's my best friend, so I enjoy them. But it can be a bit much. I can see where that can be a bit much. Not every ex relationship has felt this way, but there have been some, and I was like, you know what? Okay, it grows on you. So it's interesting.
Best friend, are you listening right now?
but here's my thing.
Is it me?
Because of that, because of my awareness of that, it takes a lot for me to be like, well, your best friend sucks. No, I'm like, let me give them like an infinite amount of chances. Let me do my best, and if nothing else, I'll just swallow my pride here.
I've just realized either I'm really annoying or I'm not Phil's best friend, and either way, I'm hurt.
Would you go across the globe for a wedding / funeral?
Someone I'm a close friend or someone, a family member, if I can afford it, yeah, absolutely. A wedding, like especially, like I guess like funerals, I'm not a believer in the soul. So when the person is gone, they're gone. And if I can go to the funeral, I absolutely will. But like wedding for me is more, because then I'm actually celebrating with the person that I love, and that's different. But yeah, in either case, if I can afford it, 100%, yeah.
For me,
and I love traveling, so it's, yeah.
For me, I will go to the wedding, but then I think it's inherent by now, but just in case there's any of you who don't know this or understand this, you can have your wedding in an exotic location. And if, depending on the level of friendship, we would have to be close. Like we would have to talk at least once a month for me to consider this. But if we're that close of friends to where we talk at least once a month, me going there is your gift. I'm not getting you anything beyond me getting there and sacrificing that's your gift. Enjoy.
I think that's fair enough.
Yes.
I think that's fair enough.
And I think if you're doing that, you know that that's going to be the case.
Okay. How far does it have to be where it gets to the point where you're like, yeah, okay, I'm not getting you a gift now? Like, cause if you have to drive 2 hours, you're probably getting a gift, right? How far does it have to be?
If I have to board a plane, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Because here's the thing.
So that's like...
Yeah, if I have to board a plane and I have to go to, even like, let's go to Denver. I'm still like, not only am I going to Denver, but chances are I'm not just doing a day. Like I at least need like 2, maybe 3 days. There's probably a day of work in there. So I mean, like there again, not that I'm like fully evaluating this, but the fact that I now have to take some time off of work, go get for my hotel, get a plane ticket back, get a suitcase, all this stuff, and also brings things to dress in nicely. This is what's happening. This is fine. Again, if I can drive there, you're still getting a gift. Way to go.
Yeah.
Enjoy my gift. Okay, but this is all to say, for a funeral, if you're going to an exotic place for some reason and you want to have your funeral in Scandinavia, have fun. Chances are,
Dude,
unless
what if that person is from Scandinavia and is living there, and obviously that's where their funeral's going to be?
Have fun. Go flop some fish in each other's faces for all I care. You're dead.
Okay.
You're dead.
I mean, I'm kind of with you, but
I'm not a person.
If I could afford it, I would go.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm not a person who will go to a funeral that inconveniences me, mostly because I don't even like going to the funerals. Like it could be next door. It could be like right in my living room, and I still would be freaked out. I'm just not a funeral person. It has nothing to do personally. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. Bullet. Would you take a bullet, or what is the type of person you would take a bullet for?
I don't know that I would take a bullet for anybody who like is not like close family or a significant other.
Wow.
You know, or like, you know, yeah. Like I guess like my closest friends, yeah, I would take a bullet from. Like I have this is
the podcast family. We're in a family here. The podcast family knows Jake now a little bit more personally. Would you take a bullet for Jake?
Yeah, I think I would take a bullet for Jake.
But he's probably like on the
Jake,
cutting
I'd take
room.
a bullet for you.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's a few friends out there who are like close. I've known for many years, and like. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about to say this one of the stupidest things I've ever said in my life. I've always kind of wanted to get shot so that I could say that I got like somewhere where it's like not gonna like permanently damage me, like in the leg or something.
Yeah, like in the
just
calf
so that I
or
can be
something.
like,
yeah,
I got shot. You know, I've been shot before.
Fair enough.
That's why, like, I kind of want to take a bullet somewhere that's not going to do any damage, like in the shoulder or in the arm or the leg, as long as it doesn't hit any arteries or bones.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is the dumbest thing that I could possibly really, yeah,
absolutely.
But,
and I just want to be, in all humility, anybody who wants to take a bullet for me certainly can. I just want to put that out there.
I feel like you're prefacing something here.
As for me taking a bullet for you, I'm telling you got to be like my sisters, like my immediate family. Other than that, every man, woman, and child for themselves. You know what? Here's the thing. If you are like under an age below me, I've definitely got the bullet for you. Because just by definition of like, you probably have a bigger life expectancy than me, whatever. If you're a significant other, I'll take a bullet for you. But other than that, to each their own, man. I just got to outrun you. And last one we wanted to end on. What is the type of person that, imagine a scenario where you're on a road trip from Tulsa to Kansas or something, and you've got a person in there and you've got to deliver a baby. What is the type of person that you would like go to that extent to deliver their child? Because there's no, like, it would take emergency services to get a long time to deliver a baby. What is that type of person, David? Could you?
I would do that for just about anybody, I think. Like, I honestly, again, this is also pretty stupid, but I have a feeling that I would know enough of what to do. Like, I feel like if I saw someone who was like in the middle of nowhere in the forest, I was like on a hiking expedition, and someone just went into labor because they were hiking when they're like almost about to give birth. Someone went into labor. I would step up. I'd be like, you know what? I got this.
Wow.
And I just feel like I would know what, I don't know. I'm such an idiot right now.
Yeah, well, good for you.
But I would step up. I would step up.
I would help as much as I can without actually delivering. Because honestly, sincerely, I would feel too liable, too guilty if and when something happens because of my dumbassery. I know that I will just be like down there messing some shit up. And now I've got to write down a curse word here. But yes.
I feel like I've got the sense to do it, though. I really do. Like, I feel like I've got the level head to handle that pressure and, like, not do anything stupid.
Right. Fair enough.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. If you're about to go into labor, go to the Netherlands at 75.
DM POWWOW podcast. Jeez. I'll be right there.
Hello and welcome to the POWWOW podcast game portion of our episode. And David, this week I am bringing on a guest, and this guest comes from my past. Now, there's a couple things to know about Aaron. Aaron is probably one of the most sexual people I've ever known in my life. Now, not sexual. Sorry. Yes, it's sexual. It's
sexual.
Take out the N in sensual, and that's an add an
Not
S.
Sexual.
No,
either.
Sexual.
No,
did we ever define what sexual means, Aaron?
No, absolutely not.
But we know.
Brought a bunch of. Yeah, but you know what it means. You get the vibe. Yeah.
I do not know what it means, and I don't expect either of you are going to explain it to me right now. Or our
you have to be sexual.
I'm sure that's the case, and I believe wholeheartedly that I am not sexual.
Yeah, there we go. You're starting to gain it. Once you kind of embrace it, once you know and walk in that life, then you can too be sexual. Aaron, welcome to the show, man. It's great.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm glad that you're here. We of course hope to have you on in the future, but for now, we're just going to be playing a little game with you. Of course, this holds no bearing on you if you win or lose. I would appreciate it as a personal favor if you were to beat David in this week, because it helps me going forward in a punishment that we have yet to decide. So if you can ever think of a punishment for me or David that does not involve pain, we would very much be interested in that.
So more psychological torture then.
Absolutely. Okay. Now you understand why I brought you on. So again, if you can beat David in this week's game, both me and David will have our different iterations, but of the same format of the game. And the game is this. We will have 5 quotes from famous characters in television and film, since this week's game revolved around Friends, the television show. We will give you, the two playing, 3 quotes from these characters. Now, we are looking for either the name of the character or the actor or actress who portrays the character, and you are allowed to buzz in after the 3rd quote and get half a point if you at least can name the show. So at any point in time during us listing out the quotes, you can buzz in with your name and say who you think it is. But if you only know the show, you have to wait until after the 3rd quote is fully stated.
Okay, can I ask about the parameters of the questions?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Are we referencing shows from like the 90s, early 2000s?
There was no genre definition, so it can be any show. I did give David a little bit of background about you, how you're very much a theater person, and so you should know the major ones, or at least some of the bigger ones. We didn't discuss about each other.
Every single show that I have in my quiz. I'll just preface this now. It has had episodes aired in the last 10 years.
Okay. All right.
I think I'm pretty much the same, and I think I have like a couple movies in there too. So, let's see. Me and David lost last week, so there shall be no skipping stones this week. Again, name is your buzzer, so whenever you want to go in for a point, just make sure you say your name, or I guess if you want to just say a weird name like Jackie or something, go ahead and say that too.
All right.
Shall we begin with my game? So, Aaron, you and David are facing off against each other. I will keep score. And
sounds good.
Here we go. David and Aaron. All right. First quote I've got. Quote. This is not Sisterhood of the Traveling Pantyhose. Next quote. Girl, if I was going to come for you, I'd come to your room at night and cut your effing wigs up. Last quote. Chew with your legs closed. Anybody want to take
Desiree.
Oh, yes, Aaron.
I believe that's Drag Race.
That is RuPaul's Drag Race. Do you happen to know which character or which person it is?
I know that the middle phrase or the middle quote is by Bianca Del Rio.
Absolutely. They're all by Bianca, so I'm going to give you the full point. And there we go. First one goes to Aaron. Next one. It seems to me that a queen who trusts no one is as foolish as a queen who trusts everyone. Next quote. All men must die, but we are not men.
David.
Oh, David, go ahead.
All right. So this is definitely 100% Game of Thrones, and it is Daenerys Targaryen.
All right, there we go. David.
Now, that was lovely. Well played. But I thought we were supposed to wait till the third quote.
Yes, no. So only if you only know exclusively. Excuse me. Only if you exclusively know the show. If you know the character, you can buzz in at any point in time, since that's what.
Okay. Sorry, fuzzy on the rules. Okay, I got it.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Okay, next one, third one. You both have a point. Let's go. I saved a life, my own. Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yeah.
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, go ahead.
That's The Office.
That is The Office. But you need the character in order to first buzz in at the first one. Do you know?
Yes, it's Michael from The Office.
Absolutely. 2-1. There we go.
I saved a life today.
The other quotes, would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
They love me, yes.
And well, how the turntables.
Turntables. Yeah. How the turntables. Iconic. Absolutely iconic.
Aaron holds a small lead here at 2-1. Fourth one, here we go. It's cool, baby. You know how it is. Rockin' and rollin' and whatnot. Second one. I'm not very hungry. Just give me a double polar burger with everything on and a cherry soda with chocolate ice cream. Third one. Why this car could be systematic, hydromatic, ultramatic.
Aaron.
Aaron, go ahead.
I got nothing.
It's Grease, I'm assuming, and probably Danny Zuko.
You are absolutely right. Aaron, you have secured a victory in this first round. We are going to the last question, just for respectability for David. Last one. I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now. Stupid is as stupid does.
David.
Oh,
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Wow. Forrest Gump from Forrest Gump. One and the same. There we go. 2 out of 3. David loses there to Aaron. Now, as a bit of research last night, I both looked at all of Aaron's favorite and liked watched movies on Facebook, which was fairly dated, but it still worked. And then I went to Letterboxd and searched under David, and between the two, mixed outside of RuPaul and Game of Thrones, I was like, you know what? They both have said at some point in their life they have watched this. Now, if they lied, it's on them. So there you go.
So how do you know that you found my Letterboxd account?
I looked you up. I looked you up and I found you, and there was a picture of you in between two people I'd assume are your family.
Okay.
So there you go, David. Right, it is your turn.
Here we go. It is my turn. My turn indeed. I'm not really sure if I want to make a rule that says you can only buzz in after I finished a quote, because there are some longer quotes that are just too priceless to interrupt. What do you think, Phil?
I think afterwards you can do a rundown of the remaining quotes.
Okay. You're right. All right, buzz in whenever you're ready.
Okay.
All right, so this first one. I love filmmaking and I love love. I guess you could say I enjoy making love on film and I love doing it by myself. I'm the cool dad. That's my thing. I'm hip. I surf the web. I text. Lol. Laugh out loud. OMG. Oh my god. WTF. Why the face? I've always said that if my son thinks of... Go ahead.
I'm getting Phil Dunphy vibes of Modern Family.
You are absolutely correct. Well done.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Aaron, you get a point. Nice one. Okay. I'll finish that last quote. I've always said that if my son thinks of me as one of his idiot friends, I've succeeded as a dad. Words to live by. Okay, this next one. I'm not insane. My mother had me tested. Scissors cut paper. Paper covers rock. Rock crushes lizard. Lizard poisons Spock. Spock smashes scissors. Scissors decapitates lizard. Lizard eats paper. Go ahead.
It's, oh God, what's her name from the Addams Family? It's Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever her name is.
Wrong. Lizard eats paper. Paper disproves Spock. Spock vaporizes Rock. And as it always has, Rock crushes Scissors. And the last quote, Bazinga.
Oh my God.
Oh, Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory?
Absolutely correct. Please, contestants, remember to buzz in before you answer. No, it's all good. That's 2 points for you, Aaron. Well done. You are just inches away from a win here. All right, this next one. A lie is just a really great story that someone ruined with the truth. Next quote. Jesus waited 3 days to come back to life. It was perfect. If he had only waited 1 day, a lot of people wouldn't have even heard that he died. They'd be all, hey, Jesus, what up? And Jesus would probably be like, what up? I died yesterday. And they'd be all, you look pretty alive to me, dude. And then Jesus would have to explain how he was resurrected and how it was a miracle. And the dude would be like, okay, whatever you say, bro. And he's not going to come back on a Saturday. Everybody's busy doing chores, working the loom, trimming the beard. No, he waited the perfect number of days, 3. Plus, it's Sunday, so everyone's in church already. And they're all in there like, oh no, Jesus is dead. And then bam, he bursts in the back door, running up the aisle. Everybody's totally psyched. And FYI, that's when he invented the high five. That's why we wait 3 days to call a woman, because that's how long Jesus wants us to wait. True story. And the third quote, when I get sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead.
Philip? Barney from How I Met Your Mother?
That is correct.
Oh my God.
That is correct.
Wow.
You can understand why I thought that quote was just too good to interrupt, right?
Absolutely.
Jeez Louise. I forgot about that. That's good. That is good.
All right. This next one, this is question 4. It is 2-1 in favor of Aaron. Philip, you got 1 point. All right, here we go. You couldn't handle my undivided attention. R
Aaron.
is among the most... Go ahead, Aaron.
It's Dwight from The Office again.
It is indeed.
Wow.
I'm going to finish the quotes because I love Dwight so much. R is among the most menacing of sounds. That's why they call it murder and not muck duck. When someone smiles at me, all I see is a chimpanzee begging for its life. And then I added a bonus one in there. Who is Justice Beaver? Okay, so congratulations, Aaron. You have come away with the win. You've beaten us both.
Thank you.
Soundly. And for his dignity, we're going to go on to the last question. I think this is probably the toughest one. I have zero interest in food. If it were feasible, my diet would consist entirely of flavorless beige smoothies containing all the nutrients required by the human animal. Second quote. Apparently, my husband Kevin has invited you all to my party. There's very little street parking, no gifts, no singing of happy birthday. It should be fun.
Philip.
Go ahead, Phil.
Detective Holt, Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
God, there was the Kevin.
And the third quote was, no, from now on, call me Velvet Thunder.
Yeah. God, he is by far the best character on that show.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Hot damn.
So good. I'm also a big fan of the Pontiac Bandit, played by Craig Robinson.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Aaron, you have showed us both up this week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, Aaron, did I fulfill my pre-show promise to you? David, I ask Aaron, I say, hey, Aaron, can you come on the show, man? It's been too long since we talked. Let's at least get you on the podcast, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, very graciously, yes. But the one moment of hostility I faced with Aaron beforehand was, I shall not, and I repeat, I shall not be side-blinded or sidewinded by sports. If there's any hint,
blindsided,
that too.
The word I used was
ambushed.
Yeah. To be fair, he
Phil
said it
just fucked
correctly.
up his own sports reference.
Yeah. To be fair, he did use it appropriately. He did say ambush appropriately. I fucked up on my end on here, but he said I will not be ambushed by sports, and I said, all right. Now, just to be clear, does RuPaul count as a sport? And he said, I'll think about it. I'll consider it. So, Aaron.
Oh no,
Aaron, did I fulfill my promise to you?
You did. Okay. Contractually, you're in alignment.
I'm still a little bit salty that I got beaten on The Office.
On The Office.
I know,
Aaron. You have to understand.
I've
it's
seen it like 10
favorite.
times.
Same.
Yeah, it's
same
mine too. Like and I had it there in my head, and I was like, I'll let him. Like, I don't know. Like, is it quite there? And then
because here's the other thing. Like, you can recognize that it's from The Office, but then it becomes another matter entirely of, dang, is it them? Is it? Oh,
well, like as soon as Aaron buzzed in, I was like, I know exactly who this is, and I should have. But
it's that mucklug monologue that steals it for me. It steals the deal.
Absolutely.
Don't call it mucklug.
Mucklug.
Oh yeah.
All right, Aaron.
Too good.
As always, let's give you a chance. Is there anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to say? Anything you want the people to hear from you, one Aaron Ford?
Well, every Thursday you'll find me down at the Cheetah on the pole. Unabashedly just twirling the girls around.
Absolutely.
I'm kidding. No, actually, surprisingly, due to the pandemic and such, there's been a bit of a performance drought, but hopefully that'll come to an end soon, and I will have something to plug in the future.
Yes.
Are you a performer, Aaron? What do you do?
I am. Yeah, musical theater, straight plays, musicals, etc.
Now, he is an exceptional comedy man. We met early at Shrek, and he played probably the best Shrek's father I've seen this side of the Mississippi.
You know, they still talk about it to this day. In fact, I was just speaking to someone, and he told me, he said, no one's ever done that role the way you did that role.
In hushed whispers, Aaron. In hushed, revered whispers.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
I'm surprised I'm not being asked about beards, to be frank.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Aaron, I was prepared.
Have you a beard?
No.
I do. You do? Surprisingly.
You've gone to the dark side?
I have, and I like what it does for me. I gotta say it.
No, Aaron, you were one of my lotioned, chiseled jaw brothers.
Lotharios. Yes, lotion Lotharios is what I call it. But no, it just gives the face an extra, sort of something there, and some texture.
Yes, God.
Well, the universe be kind to us all, and hopefully those stages and cameras and sets will open up shortly for us all.
Yeah, David, I think I'm running like what? Am I running 0-2 on guests coming on and being pro beard?
I mean, I can't think of any guests who came on and were anti-beard,
yeah,
so I guess so.
But I gotta say,
I think most of our guests have been pro beard.
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
That on you, Phil. I think that no beard works especially for you.
Oh, see, okay. That helps. That really does help that I've self-identified correctly.
Honestly, it was your mom.
Yes,
she was so sweet. She's like, he's so handsome without it. And I agree. You have like the skin to pull it off.
Well, thank you.
It's just gnarled and haggard under my beard, so I have to keep it,
I guess that is something to be said that we can at least agree. Sometimes it is a case-by-case basis. Aaron, we've got to have you on in the future. Maybe we'll do an exclusive Office quiz, or at least in my form. I'll make sure you guys fight to the death over The Office in some form or fashion. It would be
David is particular. He might give me a run for my money.
That is true. He said he knew it fairly early. But thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you, Aaron. Thanks for coming
Absolutely.
on.
It was so lovely to meet you.
Yes.
Thanks very much for your time. Take care.
Absolutely. Enjoy that laundry.
Oh, God. Don't remind me. Thanks, guys.
And with that game, I am at 5-7, losing record. And David is at 6-6, all tied up, baby.
And we move on to That Slaps, and I have a huge regret from last week.
Do you?
Jake Corling joined us last week. If listened last week, you probably got to the treat of hearing Jake play the That Slaps intro live for us, which was amazing. But I have a huge regret because last week I was trying to think of like a song that we had played live in front of an audience together back when we were in a band together, and I there were a couple examples I was thinking of, and I was like, no, never mind. And then I picked another song, which is great, and I don't regret choosing that song. But then I thought of the song that I should have picked in the first place. That's what I've got for you today.
Okay.
The song is "Steady as She Goes" by the Raconteurs.
Much better than "Steady as She Blows."
Song. And there was that's one of the best songs that Jake and I ever played. Jake Rutger and I ever played together. It's a great song, so check it out. "Steady as She Goes." Very good.
Mine will be "How It Will End" by X's, EXES, all caps. Just a very good song. I discovered it this week. It's one of those where you'll probably enjoy the lyrics more than the actual music, but the music accompanies it rather nicely. Just happen to enjoy it.
All right, we have a few thank yous before we close out the show tonight. This morning. Hello. We'd love to thank Jake Corlang, as always, and Cass and Crossland for the wonderful music on this show.
Thank you to Tara Amstutz for her delicious, that's right, I said delicious graphic design that we use any and everywhere we possibly can because of how delicious it looks.
As you well know, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart. Again, you already know that because you're listening to us right now, but share with your friends and find us on our socials at POWWOW Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and tune in next week as well.
'Cause it's a bear clan, yeah, and fighting for your life because it's bears, alright.